David Stockton. The name alone should have meant something, right? His dad's basically the king of passing and stealing, John Stockton, the guy with more assists and steals than literally anyone else in NBA history. 19 seasons with the Utah Jazz, 10 All-Star nods, over 15,000 assists, and more than 3,000 steals. A walking basketball dictionary. And then, David. He made it to the NBA, sure, technically. He played in 6 games total. That's it. Averaged 3 points, less than 1 rebound, and 1.5 assists per game. He didn't even crack 8 minutes a night. His field goal percentage wasn't bad, but it barely mattered when you're barely on the floor. It was like a cameo appearance, not a career. Now, if you dig into his G League numbers, they're way better. Over 200 games, he averaged 16.5 points, 7 assists, and 3.4 rebounds. Respectable. But the G League ain't the big stage. That's like winning class president in summer school. No matter how you spin it, when the family legacy is that stacked, anything short of greatness feels like a letdown. And really, it wasn't even close. David's NBA presence was more like a brief guest star than a recurring role. He didn't carve out a spot. He didn't shake things up. He just kind of existed, quietly, under the towering shadow of one of the most legendary point guards to ever touch a basketball, Patrick Ewing Jr. When your dad's a Hall of Famer with 11 All-Star selections and over 1,100 games played, you'd hope the apple didn't fall into a ditch. But here we are. Jr. was picked 43rd in the 2008 draft and ended up playing a total of 7 games in the NBA. Not 7 seasons, 7 games. He averaged less than 1 point, less than 1 rebound, and barely registered an assist. It was almost like he was trying to avoid being noticed. His shooting percentages? 0 from the field, 0 from 3. The man's entire NBA shot chart looked like a loading screen. Sure, he had a decent free throw percentage, but you actually have to get fouled to use it. Advanced stats tried to be generous. He looked better per 40 minutes, but he never got 40 minutes. He barely got 4. Meanwhile, Patrick Ewing Sr. was anchoring the New York Knicks, putting up 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. The guy took them to the finals twice and was inducted into the Hall of Fame the same year Jr. was still trying to find a stable team. To be fair, Jr. had a much stronger run in the D League. He put up over 16 points and 9 rebounds across multiple seasons. He even played in Germany and Greece, putting up solid numbers overseas. But when it came to the NBA, he just didn't stick. The name got him in the door. The game didn't keep him there. Legacy gave him a shot, but once the buzzer sounded, there just wasn't enough to separate him from the crowd. The pressure of the name never turned into production on the court. Bol Bol. Being the son of Manute Bol meant the expectations were taller than he was. And that's saying something, since he's 7'3" with a wingspan that could hug a minivan. Drafted 44th in 2019, he landed with the Nuggets through a trade, but his career's been more highlight reel tease than actual production. Across 6 seasons and over 200 games, he's averaged just over 6 points and 3 rebounds per game. He's shown flashes. Sure, every now and then he does something that gets the bench jumping, but those flashes never turn into anything steady. 12 minutes a night isn't enough time to build a case, and he hasn't earned more than that. With Phoenix, he put up nearly 7 points and grabbed under 3 boards per game. Shot over 52% from the field, which sounds decent, but the impact was small. His net rating ended up negative. You can have all the tools in the world, but if you're not moving the needle, coaches notice. Manute Bol, though, that guy blocked everything. He led the league in blocks twice and retired with more blocks than points. Over 2,000 of them, while scoring fewer than 1,600. And still, he made all defensive teams. He might have been a one-trick pony, but that trick scared the life out of opponents. Bol Bol hasn't come close to that kind of fear factor. He's not dominating the paint. He's not locking down shooters. He's got the genetics, but the consistent production hasn't followed. The name opened the door, but the impact, that's still missing. By the way, if you guys want to subscribe, I'm going to be posting every day. Thanks. Anyways, Chris Smith, if your brother's winning titles with LeBron James and dunking like gravity's a rumor, the pressure's on. But Chris barely left a mark in the NBA. 2 games with the Knicks in the 2013 season. That's not a typo. 2. He averaged 1 minute per game. Not 1 rebound, not 1 assist, not 1 point. Just 1 minute of cardio and a clean box score. His advanced stats were even more painful. A true shooting percentage of 0. A player efficiency rating below 0. Win shares in the negatives. Basically, the stat sheet looked like a fire drill. He was on the court, technically, but you'd have to squint to find the impact. Meanwhile, J.R. Smith played in 977 games, scored over 12 points a night, and walked away with 2 championship rings. He even won 6th Man of the Year. Say what you want about JR's wild moments, but the guy produced. Chris, he didn't even have a moment. To his credit, Chris had a solid college career. At Louisville, he he put up decent numbers. Then in the G League, he averaged just over 8 points for the Erie Bayhawks. He even took his talents overseas, suiting up in Israel, Canada, and Kosovo. Not bad, but it never added up to a real NBA run. This wasn't about lack of effort, it just didn't click. The family name might have cracked the door open, but the game didn't hold it there. Compared to JR's long, chaotic, and sometimes brilliant NBA ride, Chris Smith's career barely got out of park. Zaire Wade. When your dad's one of the greatest shooting guards in NBA history, the spotlight finds you whether you're ready or not. D. Wade had 3 championships, 13 All-Star nods, and a Hall of Fame seat waiting. Zaire, he's still trying to find his lane. He played high school ball at more schools than some folks visit in a decade. Mount Carmel, American Heritage, Sierra Canyon, then Brewster Academy. Offers came in from DePaul, Nebraska, Rhode Island, and Toledo, but instead of college, he went straight into the pro route. In 2021, Zaire got picked 10th in the G League draft by the Salt Lake City Stars. He played 25 games that season, averaging just over 3 points, 2 rebounds, and less than 2 assists in under 17 minutes per game. His shooting hovered around 32% with subpar numbers from deep. Advanced metrics didn't do him any favors either. His player efficiency rating landed at 5.3, and his turnover percentage was a whopping 23.6. Then came a season-ending injury in March. Just like that, the momentum stalled. He resurfaced in 2023 with the Cape Town Tigers, putting up a better line, 9 points, nearly 4 rebounds, and 4 assists across 4 games. Not groundbreaking, but an improvement. Then in 2024, he joined the Macau Black Bears. Still playing, still grinding, but not quite making waves. D. Wade lit up arenas. Zaire's working his way through global gyms and G League benches. The last name buys attention, but it doesn't buy buckets. So far, Zaire's career hasn't come close to matching the legacy he was born into. Bronny James, carrying the name of a 4-time champion and one of the greatest to ever do it, that's not pressure, that's a full-time job. While LeBron's been rewriting history books for over 2 decades, Bronny's just getting started. And let's just say it's been a quiet opening chapter. At USC, he played in 25 games, started in 6, and averaged under 5 points a game, shooting under 37% from the field and under 27 from deep. It wasn't exactly lights out. He averaged under 3 rebounds and just over 2 assists, all in under 20 minutes a night. His net rating was negative, his efficiency low, and his usage rate didn't help either. It didn't look like someone dominating the college level. It looked like someone still trying to figure it out. He got drafted 55th overall by the Lakers, which raised some eyebrows, but didn't raise his production. Through the early NBA season, he's putting up around 2 points a game with a shooting percentage just above 31. True shooting under 43%, that's not going to scare anyone. He's on the floor, but his role is minimal, and the numbers back it up. Meanwhile, LeBron's resume is a monster. 20 seasons, over 50,000 total points, 4 MVPs, 4 rings, 20 All-Star selections. He's done everything short of actually building the arena himself. Bronny hasn't made an impact yet. The hype is loud, but the results so far? Not so much. The family name got him attention, but his performance has to catch up. Right now, he's a project, not a prodigy. The work's ahead, and the expectations aren't going anywhere. Canyon Barry, the son of Hall of Famer Rick Barry, and the only Barry kid who didn't make it to the NBA, even with a jump shot that looked like it belonged in a time capsule. He had a solid college run, starting at the College of Charleston, where he averaged nearly 13 points a game, and even put up almost 20 a night before a shoulder injury cut that short. Then he transferred to Florida, came off the bench, dropped 11 points a game, and set a school record with 42 straight made free throws. And yes, he shot them underhanded, just like his dad. After going undrafted in 2017, he got a shot in the NBA Summer League with the Knicks, but that was as close as he got to the league. From there, it was international stints in Finland, the Czech Republic, and China. Eventually, he landed in the G League with the Iowa Wolves and put up just over 9 points a game. Not bad, but not exactly NBA radar material either. His biggest splash came in 3x3 basketball. Canyon won gold with Team USA in 2019 and silver in 2023. He even played in the 2024 Paris Olympics, becoming the first Barry to reach the games. That's a cool milestone, but it's a different lane entirely. Rick Barry, that guy led the NCAA, ABA, and NBA in scoring, won a title, a finals MVP, and made 8 All-Star teams. The guy was dropping 25 points a game like it was nothing. Canyon's journey went global, not elite. He's carved out his own path, but the NBA door stayed shut, and the legacy gap stayed wide. Glenn Rice Jr. It's tough when your dad's an NBA champion, a 3-time All-Star, and the kind of shooter who made defenders reconsider their careers. Glenn Rice Sr. carved out 15 seasons and nearly 19 points per game. Glenn Jr., not quite the same path. He was drafted 35th overall in 2013, then sent to the Wizards. Over 16 games, he averaged less than 3 points, with shooting percentages that looked like typos, under 27% from the field and 25 from 3. His player efficiency rating was under 4. His offensive rating didn't even crack 75. Those are the kind of numbers that make coaches look at the bench and wonder what else they've got. But here's the twist. Glenn Jr. wasn't talentless. He actually dominated the G League, helped Rio Grande Valley win the title in 2013. Overseas, he lit up the Israeli League with over 24 points a game and even snagged MVP honors in the Israeli Cup. The talent showed up, but so did the problem. Multiple teams dropped him due to off-court issues. He bounced around, from Israel to Argentina and back, never sticking long enough to build something stable. There were flashes of scoring brilliance, but just as many headlines for the wrong reasons. Meanwhile, Glenn Sr. was hitting big shots for the Lakers and winning trophies. He won the three-point contest, made all NBA teams, and finished with a championship ring. Glenn Jr. showed glimpses of potential, but never got close to that level. The name carried weight. The game couldn't keep up. Off the court, things unraveled fast. The legacy? Still one-sided. Thanasis. Being the older brother of Giannis might sound like a cheat code to the NBA, but Thanasis' career has been more bench celebration than highlight reel. He was drafted 51st overall in 2014 by the Knicks and made his debut in the 2015 season. But the real action didn't start until he joined the Bucks in 2019. Though action might be a generous word, over nearly 200 games, he's averaged just over 2 points and barely more than 1 rebound per game. 7 minutes a night. That's not even enough time to get tired. He shot just over 50% from the field, but when you're only taking layups and putbacks, that's kind of expected. His three-point percentage, 14, and the free throws, barely over 50%. Add in a negative real plus-minus and a usage rate that screams, just happy to be here, and it's clear he's not moving the needle on the court. Now let's talk about Giannis. 9 All-Star games, 2 MVPs, a Finals MVP, a championship, almost 24 points, and 10 rebounds per game. The guy's basically been Milwaukee's entire identity since he got there. He's in the conversation with legends, while Thanasis is usually in the shot because he's celebrating on the sideline. But compared to Giannis, it's not even close. One brother's a franchise cornerstone. The other's been more mascot than menace. The last name might be the same, but the impact, worlds apart. Glenn Robinson III, the son of Big Dog. Glenn Robinson, who used to light up scoreboards like it was his day job, because it was. Robinson Sr. averaged over 20 points a game across 11 seasons, earned 2 All-Star spots, and won a title with the Spurs. That's a legacy with some serious weight. Glenn III, he didn't exactly chase it down, but he had his moments. He got picked 40th in the 2014 draft by Minnesota and went on to play over 300 games in the league. As a role player, he was fine. Just under 6 points per game in about 17 minutes a night. Shot nearly 38% from 3 and almost 46% from the field. He had solid mechanics and played within his role. Nothing flashy, except for one night in 2017 when he won the slam dunk contest. That was probably his most memorable moment. His best season came with Golden State in 2020. 12.9 points per game, almost 5 rebounds, and solid shooting splits. It showed he could hold a starting role when given the chance, but those chances never lasted. After his NBA run, he bounced around internationally, suiting up for teams in the Philippines and South Korea, plus a stint with the Wisconsin Herd. So yeah, he kept playing, but the trajectory never spiked. Meanwhile, Big Dog was a walking bucket. Over 20 points a game, and a Rookie of the Year team nod right out of the gate. Glenn III didn't crash out, but he didn't level up either. The name came with baggage, and he carried some of it, but not the scoring load. Not even close. Shareef O'Neal. With Shaq as your dad, just stepping onto a basketball court comes with a spotlight and about a dozen comparisons. But while Shaq was breaking backboards and dominating the paint, Shareef's path has been a grind, just to stay in the game. In high school, he looked like a rising star, putting up nearly 28 points and over 17 rebounds a night. He led Crossroads School to a state title and picked up a pile of awards. But then came heart surgery in 2018, and everything changed. He redshirted his first season at UCLA and played 13 games the next year, averaging just over 2 points and nearly 3 rebounds. He transferred to LSU, his dad's old stomping grounds, but never broke out. Across 2 seasons, he put up under 3 points and a couple boards in limited minutes. He went undrafted in 2022, but got a shot with G League Ignite. There, he averaged 5.5 points and 3 rebounds a game, nothing earth-shattering. He He signed an Exhibit 10 contract with the Kings in 2024, then was waived almost immediately. Since then, he's been a free agent. Meanwhile, Shaq played 19 seasons, grabbed 4 rings, and scored nearly 24 points a game. He's a Hall of Famer, a 15-time All-Star, and basically redefined what it meant to be unstoppable. Shareef's shown perseverance, especially coming back from heart surgery, but the numbers don't lie. He hasn't made a dent in the league. The last name is iconic. The career, still waiting for its first big moment. Kobe Karl. When your dad is one of the winningest coaches in NBA history, it's hard to sneak into the league unnoticed. But even with the last name, Kobe didn't exactly leave a deep impression on the court. He played a total of 24 NBA games across stints with the Lakers, Cavaliers, and Warriors. That's 3 teams, less than 30 games, and averages that never cracked 3 points per night, shooting under 35% from the field and 25% from deep. He wasn't stretching the floor or lighting up the scoreboard. His most notable NBA moment? A single start for Golden State in 2010, where he logged heavy minutes and put up a decent line. 7 points, 4 rebounds, and nearly 4 assists. But that was more of a one-night showcase than a breakout performance. After that, it was mostly back to the G League. With the Reno Bighorns, he actually looked like a real contributor, averaging 16 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds. Solid numbers, but they didn't translate to a permanent NBA role. Meanwhile, George Karl built a coaching legacy that's hard to touch. Over 1,100 wins, 22 playoff appearances, and a trip to the NBA Finals. He earned Coach of the Year and landed in the Hall of Fame. That's more wins than most franchises. Kobe reached the league, which is no small feat. But compared to his dad, his basketball footprint is light. One built a Hall of Fame career from the sidelines. The other barely had time to warm up. Same name, very different chapters. Jerian Grant. When your dad played 11 seasons in the league and your uncle wore goggles on his way to 4 NBA titles, there's going to be some pressure. Drafted 19th in 2015, Jerian came into the NBA with real expectations, especially after showing promise at Notre Dame. But once he hit the league, things stayed pretty lukewarm. Across 279 games with the Knicks, Bulls, Magic, and Wizards, he averaged just over 6 points and nearly 3 assists in under 18 minutes a night. Solid backup numbers, but nothing that made teams fight to keep him. Shot just over 41% from the field and 32% from deep. Not bad, not great. His efficiency rating sat below league average, and the advanced metrics didn't do him many favors. Negative box plus minus. Below average value over replacement, he was serviceable, but replaceable. Then came the move overseas, and that's where things got more interesting. In Turkey, he became Euro Cup MVP in 2023, averaging nearly 15 points and over 6 assists. The next year, he went to Panathinaikos, won a EuroLeague title, and earned Best Defender in the Greek League. Finally, some hardware. The family tree is packed. Harvey Grant had a solid NBA career. Horace Grant, 4 rings and a starting role on title teams. Jeremy Grant is still doing his thing in the NBA with real production. Jerian, he didn't match that impact in the league, but he found his stride overseas. He made it, just not in the way fans expected. The name brought recognition. His international game brought the results. Not a star, but definitely not a washout. Zoran Dragic, being the younger brother of an NBA All-Star like Goran Dragic, sets the stage for big expectations. But Zoran's NBA career was barely a blip. He played just 16 games between the Suns and the Heat, averaged under 2 points per game, and barely touched the court at just under 5 minutes a night. He started once, but the numbers never followed. Shooting under 37% from the field and 21% from 3, his role was more symbolic than strategic. His most memorable NBA moment? Playing on the same team as Goran for the Heat? Cool trivia, but not exactly a legacy-building moment. Now, Zoran did have a solid international career. He played over 150 games in the EuroLeague, averaging nearly 8 points a game. That's where he actually found a role, contributing for top-tier teams like Unicaja Malaga, Olimpia Milano, and Anadolu Efes. He bounced around the best leagues in Europe and stuck long enough to matter. His numbers overseas were modest but steady. Solid shooting, decent scoring, and a professional presence. Meanwhile, Goran was busy stacking up nearly 1,000 NBA games, an All-Star selection, Most Improved Player honors, and a Eurobasket MVP. He led Slovenia to its first title in 2017 and became one of the best international guards of his era. Zoran got a taste of the NBA, but Goran made it a home. One brother carved out a long, decorated career. The other, more like a short guest appearance before heading back overseas. same family, very different chapters in the league. Anthony Mason Jr. When your dad was a bruising all-star known for bulldozing through the paint and throwing no-look passes like a 6'7" quarterback, you better bring something serious to the table. And while Mason Jr. had a respectable basketball journey, the NBA never really opened its doors for him. He had a decent run at St. John's, improving from 8 points and 5 rebounds as a freshman to nearly 12 and 6 by his sophomore year. He wrapped up his college career averaging close to 10 points a game. Solid, but not exactly screaming future pro. He went undrafted in 2010, but got a preseason look with the Miami Heat. He played 3 games, averaged 4 points and 4 boards, but got waived before the season tipped off. From there, it was the G League grind with the Sioux Falls Skyforce. Across multiple seasons, he showed flash, dropping over 15 points and grabbing 8 rebounds one year, then putting up 17 a game in another. But none of it was enough to get him back into the NBA conversation. Internationally, he played in Italy, Venezuela, and Cyprus. In Cyprus, he averaged over 14 points and 6 rebounds, even shooting nearly 43% from deep. But still, the phone never rang from the big league. His dad, Anthony Mason Sr., was a defensive beast and 6th man of the year in 1995. He made an all-star team and helped lead the Knicks to the finals. Mason Sr. was all grit, toughness, and unshakable presence. Mason Jr. had skill and heart, but the impact wasn't there. The name carried weight. The career didn't match it. Different path, same game, vastly different results. LiAngelo Ball. The middle Ball brother was dropping 30 a night in high school and once scored 72 points in a game. He looked like the next family scoring machine, right? Not quite. While Lonzo and LaMelo were carving out NBA roles, LiAngelo's path took a detour through Lithuania, a league his dad made up, and then a brief cameo in the G League. He never played a single regular season game in college. UCLA suspended him after a shoplifting incident in China, and he withdrew before ever stepping on the court. From there, he landed in Lithuania with BCA Vytautas, where he averaged just over 12 points per game and shot the 3 well. But it wasn't NBA level competition. Then came the JBA, a league his dad created. He dominated, because of course he did, and even won finals MVP with a 58-point performance. Still, scouts weren't lining up. In the G League, he averaged 4 points in about 13 minutes with the Greensboro Swarm. He got training camp looks with the Pistons and Hornets, but was waived each time. In 2024, he signed with the Astros de Jalisco in Mexico, played 2 games, and then got sidelined by a ligament injury. Just brutal timing. Now somehow, he's found new life in music. Under the name G3, he dropped a song called Tweaker, and it exploded online. He signed a deal with Def Jam worth up to $13 million. Yes, the guy who couldn't crack an NBA rotation is now making chart-topping music. Lonzo and LaMelo built NBA careers. LiAngelo built something else entirely. The hoop dream didn't pan out, but the mic, that's a different story. Larry Drew II. Another case of a recognizable last name and just enough flashes to keep people watching, but not enough to stick. Coming out of high school with a bloodline that included a decade-long NBA player and head coach, the expectations were built in. He started at North Carolina, helped during their title run in 2009, then took on a bigger role in year 2. 8 and 6 per game looked promising, but by his junior year, he was out of the rotation and gone mid-season. He landed at UCLA and had his best stretch, 7 points, over 7 assists per game, and set the single-season assist record at the school. First team All Pac-12. That kind of playmaking should have meant something in the draft, but he went undrafted in 2013. His NBA stints were short, 15 games with the Sixers over 2 separate runs, and 7 more with the Pelicans. Across those appearances, he averaged under 3 points and about 2 assists per game. Nothing stuck. In the G League, he showed real skill. He dropped 23 assists in a single game with the Sioux Falls Skyforce. That's a D-League record. But again, the call-up didn't last. Overseas, he bounced around with stints in France and Lithuania, but never landed on a stable, high-impact role. His dad, Larry Drew Sr., had a legit NBA career and went on to coach multiple teams, including the Hawks, Bucks, and Cavs. The older Drew found longevity in both playing and coaching. The younger Drew flashed talent, but the NBA never bought in. Larry Drew II had handles, vision, and moments, but the league doesn't reward almost. It rewards consistent production, and he never got there. Ben Hansbrough, the younger brother of Tyler Hansbrough, college basketball royalty, and a longtime NBA role player. Ben had a stellar run at Notre Dame, 18 points a game, over 4 assists, and nearly 44% from deep in his senior season. He walked away with Big East Player of the Year, honors and second team All-American recognition. On paper, it looked like he was heading for something more than a quick NBA pit stop, but he went undrafted in 2011 and bounced around overseas before finally landing with the Indiana Pacers in 2012. In 28 games, he averaged 2 points per game in just over 7 minutes a night. He shot 33% from the field and 26% from three. He wasn't terrible, he just wasn't making an impact. The role was limited and the opportunity faded fast. After that, it was back to the basketball wilderness. He played in Germany, Slovenia, and Spain before returning stateside for a short stint in the G League. 7 games with the Grand Rapids Drive was the last notable playing chapter. 8 points, 2 assists, and a quiet exit from professional basketball. He tried coaching too, joined Western Kentucky staff, and even worked his way up to assistant coach, but resigned in 2017. The comeback never came. Meanwhile, Tyler carved out a 7-year NBA career, won a title with North Carolina, and was a dominant force in college hoops. Ben had the name and the resume from college, but it never translated at the pro level. The NBA window was short, the numbers were quiet, and the gap between the brothers was wide. One had staying power, the other had a cameo. DJ Rodman. The name gets attention, but the game, it's still in development. While his dad, Dennis Rodman, was pulling down rebounds like a man possessed and winning 5 NBA titles, DJ's journey has been quieter, more grind, less glitter. At Washington State, DJ played over 100 games and slowly worked his way into the starting lineup. By his final year there, he was averaging almost 10 points and close to 6 boards and knocking down nearly 38% from three. Then came a transfer to USC, where he started most of the season and averaged 8 points and 5 rebounds. Solid numbers, respectable production, but not the kind of stats that make draft boards light up. Unsurprisingly, he went undrafted in 2024, got a summer league shot with the Clippers, then landed in the G League with the Capital City Go-Go. That lasted 6 games. He was waived, and it looked like the door might shut. But then the Maine Celtics picked him up, and he's been contributing. Almost 7 points and 6 rebounds per game, while shooting 40% from deep. Not eye-popping, but steady. Now, compare that to Dennis. The man led the NBA in rebounds 7 seasons in a row, 2-time All-Star, Hall of Famer, a defensive force of nature who dominated without needing to score. DJ's putting in the work, no question. But when your dad's one of the greatest defenders of all time, and you're fighting for minutes in the G League, the gap is obvious. DJ Rodman is chasing a path that's his own, but it's a long road out of that shadow. So far, it's persistence over dominance, hustle over headlines. The name still echoes louder than the stats. PJ Dozier, another player carrying a name stitched with basketball history, but the NBA chapter never quite caught fire. His college run at South Carolina was impressive. Nearly 14 points, 5 boards, and a trip to the school's first Final Four in history. He looked like he was on the path, but after going undrafted in 2017, it was a bumpy road. In the NBA, he's appeared in 130 games across multiple teams, mostly in small spurts. He had his best stretch with the Denver Nuggets in 2021, averaging almost 8 points and 3.5 rebounds in a backup role. But just as things started to click, he tore his ACL in late 2021, cutting the season short and stalling his momentum. After rehab, he barely got minutes. 9 games with the Timberwolves in the 2024 season and under 1 point per game. His NBA totals sit at just over 5 points and 2 rebounds per game. Modest numbers and nothing close to long-term stability. In the G League, though, he's been solid. 17 points, 6 boards, and 5 assists per game over more than 130 games. Overseas, he landed with Partizan Belgrade, staying active and competitive. The Dozier family tree is full of hoopers. His dad, his uncle, his sister, all legit talents. His cousin Reggie Lewis was an NBA All-Star with the Celtics before his tragic passing. Dozier wears number 35 in tribute, but the comparison ends at the jersey. PJ's shown heart and flashes of potential, but consistency at the NBA level never followed. The name has roots, the career still finding footing. Ralph Sampson III. It's a name that sounds like it should be intimidating, towering, dominant, because that's what his father, Ralph Sampson Sr., was. A 7'4" basketball anomaly with accolades falling out of his socks. Unfortunately for Junior, genetics only carried the name, not the NBA dominance. At Minnesota, Sampson III carved out a respectable collegiate run, over 1,000 points, 500 rebounds, and 200 blocks. That's solid. Not viral, not draft board dizzying, but solid. He was a reliable interior presence, a decent rim protector, and not particularly aggressive, which is kind of a problem when your dad was an apex predator in the paint. Then came the not drafted moment in 2012, and from there, it was the long G League odyssey. Reno Bighorns, Maine Red Claws, the scenic tour of professional basketball's backroads. His best season with the Red Claws gave us 5.9 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 1.8 blocks per game. Respectable, not spectacular. If you didn't blink, you may have caught a 16-game stint in Finland with Neil and Bison. I hope someone got a jersey. In contrast, Ralph Sr. was Rookie of the Year, a 4-time All-Star, and literally a Hall of Famer. He was also half of Houston's Twin Towers with Hakeem Olajuwon before knee injuries clipped what could have been a dynasty. That's the legacy Ralph III was chasing. No pressure or anything, and that's the issue. Being the son of a legend in basketball is like being the understudy to Hamlet, whose dad was Shakespeare. Ralph Sampson III wasn't bad, he just wasn't unforgettable. He got buckets, blocked shots, and played hard, but the family name was heavier than anything he could carry in the post. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot here. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.